Paul, you ready?
Can't see him back there. Can't see him.
Okay, I'll call to order the July 15th Lanesville Community School Board of Trustees at 7 p.m. Board members, you have received the agenda in advance of tonight's meetings. You have had time to review, research, and consider the matters to be voted on tonight. Board members, do you have any questions or concerns to be addressed before we proceed?
No.
Okay, the first is call to order. The second is Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3 is approval from minutes from the June 2nd, 2025 meeting and the June 17th, 2025 meeting. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make the motion. We approve those minutes from those two meetings.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 4 is approval of the claims for the month of July. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I will make a motion to approve the claims for the month of July.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Number 5 is principal's report.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're excited to kick off another great year. We start Thursday, so just shout out to Mrs. Hood and Mrs. Shiger with our kindergarten orientation. We are expecting, we think, around the 40 to 45 mark for kindergarten to open up the doors and to just welcome them into Lanesville on Thursday night. So that'll be our first event. On Tuesday night, we have our back to school bash. Our teachers work really hard to set up classrooms and just to prepare and to get everything set up and ready. So we'll run that next Tuesday night from 6 to 7:30. We have added on something, and I want to give a shout out to Zach Payne. This year we are going to start back to school bash with actually an athletic meeting at 5:30 for incoming families. For us, it'll be 5th and 6th grade, but it continues up to the middle and high school as well. And Zach's just going to take the time to kind of launch athletics, and like here's where we are. This is how Final Forms work. This is the way you can sign up for Event Link. Because as much as we want to be involved, sometimes it's overwhelming when we've got all of these different platforms and different ways, to communicate. So shout out to him for just setting that up. So that'll actually kick us off Tuesday night at 5:30 for athletics for 5th and 6th, and then back to school bash from 6 to 7:30 for everyone else. Tonight we have some changes to present to you all from the elementary handbook. We're excited to welcome our new staff. We have, again, Elena Good. It is not a different person, but she was Elena Davidson when she was board approved with you guys, and she did get married over the summer. So we're super excited to have her as our 6th grade teacher. Christina Clifford is coming to us to be our new special ed teacher. And we're excited to welcome Karen Armstrong back. I know that she's familiar with so many of you guys to our PE program. And then if board approved tonight, we'll have a new position for response to intervention, and that could be Ann Williams with your all's approval. So just excited to have a couple new friends, one returning, and just ready to get to work and to do great things this year. In addition to that, we had last year, Lanesville Elementary had a new website. So we needed to fix that address, in the handbook. And then with the board's work of all of the policies and those things, we just wanted to make sure that in the student handbook, it said, please look at the new adopted policy. So we just some wordsmithing, not really any big changes. One thing we have had is we've seen an uptick in allergies. I don't know if any of you guys on social media are seeing all the different things with the glutens and the peanuts and everything. My family is blessed or cursed with many of them. But we really wanted to kind of slow the roll. We have so many celebrations. And so Mrs. Control asked us to have some of the birthday treats and things brought in because labels matter. And so she just wants to slow down and make sure she checks the birthday cupcakes to just make sure, because some of them are made in those processing facilities. And if you don't live an allergy, you don't realize how intense it is. So that's one change in the student handbook, and we'll communicate that in the newsletter as well. We love that we're celebrating, and we love that we have so many things to honor and to do, but we just want to make sure we keep our kids safe. So that's a small change. Another big change is volleyball. I don't know if you saw them, but they're super excited. They were running and squealing. I believe one of them slid on their knee pads down the hallway, but volleyball is now an elementary sport. Up until this year, it was a club. So we're super excited to have another athletic opportunity for our kiddos here. And then we just have had some minor typos and language changes. And then Miss Sandy sent out an update. There's going to be a small change to lunch and breakfast prices, so we updated that. So, and our last thing, we're super excited. Again, excited just seems to be my word. And I mean, I think that a restful summer just brings just that energy back to kick off and to be excited. But our PBIS program, we have so many things to be excited about and so many blessings, and we have so many great kids. So Mrs. Smith spent a lot of time this summer trying to figure out ways that we can celebrate, bring new incentives, and to just, motivate our kids to do great things. So she's going to share those highlights.
Okay, so we kind of are going to relaunch PBIS this year with some new things. So we have some money, thanks to some endowment money that we're going to have. So we have some money to work with. So we're going to still use our Eagle Pledge, which is something that the students recite every morning after the Pledge of Allegiance, but we're just going to tailor it a little bit to the individual grades. So we're going to add success cards in for our 5th and 6th grade students. So they're going to be working towards different goals throughout the quarter. And so then at the end of that quarter, their celebration is going to be more age appropriate. Our littles are still working for the Eagle tickets. If you have littles in the elementary, you know that they talk a lot about their Eagle tickets. They're still going to be working towards those Eagle tickets, and they'll still be the weekly drawing for the fun prizes that they get from Mrs. Holder or myself. But our older kids, we wanted to tailor it more to like a middle school mindset. So they're going to be working towards these success cards. We're also going to add in some extra earned field trips and fun things on campus. So those will be also things that the teachers will sit down and decide what parameters, and then we will have students work for those incentives. We've talked about like the BATS games. We've talked about maybe ice skating, different things that we can get some plays because we have some connections with Stage 1 where we can get some free plays. But those students would be working for those incentives. So we're also going to launch that this year too. What Mrs. Holder and I did is we sat down and looked at data, and anywhere we saw an uptick in behavior, that's where we're going to plug in some of those incentives. So it's something for the kids to work towards. So it'll be data driven, but it'll also be fun and celebratory for the students. We have brag tags. We started that last year. If you have an elementary student, you know their backpack got pretty heavy with brag tags, but that was something that they were very proud of. We're going to continue that. We still do student of the month. Mrs. Steele is in charge of that. The students are picked by their teachers. They come down. We take a picture. We celebrate them. We still do Eagle Mail. We encourage teachers every week to send at least 1 or 2 postcards home to students that are doing a really great job. They like to receive that mail at home. So we also will still include those. And then Mrs. Holder and I have made it our challenge to really publish those. We do those celebrations, but sometimes we kind of fall short at like taking pictures and things like that. So we're going to try to incorporate those into the weekly newsletter. So when she sends out that newsletter on Friday, take a look at it, look for pictures and stuff. You'll find your kiddos periodically throughout. So that's all I got.
Eric?
Thank you. Welcome. I'll keep mine sort of brief somewhat. I will talk about some of the changes that I have recommended that we change in our handbook as well. Nothing major. I did want to say that I'm excited to get another year rolling at Lanesville. Year 1, I learned a lot. Thank you guys for sticking with me through all the things that I was learning as I was going. I feel a lot better coming into year 2 with more of a structure, more of a plan of how things work and the order of things and how we're supposed to do them. So welcome new staff. Jamie Kolkemeyer, math teacher. Kelsey Rawlings will be going into our science. We'll have Heather Baker going into study hall. She has been an instructional assistant here. I've been working this summer a lot with Audrey Brown. We've been talking about some things that I'm really excited about to make Lanesville great. Thank you, Sarah Smith, for helping last year. I'm also looking forward to just working with having somebody separate in separate spaces. I think that's really going to add a huge value to these kids and what they can do. Some of the proposed changes to the handbook on the junior senior high school side, most of them are just wording things, but there are a couple larger tweaks. The first that I'm going to propose is that parents, as it currently stands, have up to 10 times that they can call in a student without any notice or notification from a doctor. And so what I'm proposing is that we make that about 3 to give parents, because every time a child gets a sore throat, I don't expect them to go to the doctor and get notes. But 10 times, what happens when we get to 10 is you have the unexcused absences begin on the 11th. And so when you're at 10 and then you're starting your 11th, you actually are missing 20 days of school before the school is obligated to report that your student is not attending regularly. And there's a direct correlation to students who attend and students who have good grades. And so that is one thing that I think we can dial back a little bit. Obviously, excused absences are still never going to be reported to juvenile probation. But when kids miss 20 days and then we have to do something, like I said, by the time that they schedule a meeting with juvenile probation, you could be up to almost a month of school missed before anybody's doing anything about it. And so that's just one catch I think that we could see an easy change. That would probably have to be affected on both sides of the building, but that is something that I would like to see on the junior senior high. Another is that students cannot be on their phones. This is already something that we have practiced last year during instructional time. So the only time students will be allowed to have a cell phone, and all of the data and most of the discipline that we dealt with cell phones, it's going to happen during non-instructional time anyways. But whatever we can do to give our kids the best chance, I want to do that. And so non-instructional time would just be before school starts, after school ends, in the hallways during passing period, and at lunch only. No time should phones be out during the school day while they're in classes. And I think that we'll see I'm hoping to see a reduction in discipline referrals for cell phone use. And then lastly, we have supervision after school. This is also something that I sent out last year just as an email to parents and guardians. But students need to be out of the building if they are not supervised by no later than 3:15 every day. School ends at 3 o'clock on the junior senior high side. And so really, when kids are not supervised, I can't guarantee that they're safe. And so that is one concern. If there's a staff member that wants to stay over, help tutor, whatever the situation is, as long as they have somebody there with them, I'm fine. I'm comfortable with it. It's just the ones that want to stick around basketball practice or practice doesn't start till 4:30 and they're hanging out in the commons every once in a while. 99.99999% of the time, that's not a big deal. It's that point, however many zeros I need to add there, percent that I don't want to happen. So that is just a few things to help our school function a little bit better. And then lastly, our 7th grade welcome night's the 21st. So that's next Monday, starts at 6 p.m. Look forward to meeting new faces on the high school side, and then looking forward to meeting the new 7th graders. And there'll be lots of volunteer students here to walk the halls, help students find classes. I'll be there. Mrs. Brown will be there to answer some questions, and let's have a great year. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, next up is superintendent's report.
First thing on my list that I want to do is recognize one of our board members, Ms. Sharon Rothrock. We're being recognized by the Indiana School Boards Association as exemplary honor roll recipient. This recognition comes from a board member who accumulates at least 225 points by attending meetings, seminars, and conferences over years. And so I've just got a little something here for Ms. Rothrock. It's a lot of time that you put in.
Yeah.
And so thank you on behalf of Lanesville Community School Corporation for all the time and effort over the years. Last month, we talked about some preliminary iLearn numbers. They are still embargoed technically until the State Board of Education meeting tomorrow. So I can't go through the specific numbers with you. We will next month, but what I will give you is just an indication of the improvement that we had over the 24-25 school year. Every every time we go through these, we look at 20 school corporations, us being one of the 20 in our general area. That includes all of them in Harrison County, Clark County, Floyd County, Washington County, Orange County, Crawford County, Perry County, and Scott County. And so if you know those corporations, last year we sat up here and we looked at a trend line coming out of COVID and a steady decrease in our test scores, particularly at the elementary level over the years. We finally today got to see everybody else's. And so we knew what our numbers were. We knew that we had increased, but you didn't know exactly what that meant until you looked at everybody else's. Well, I can't go through the specifics. What I'll tell you today, and I'll just run through some numbers with you real quick. We put a lot of emphasis on English language arts and writing in particular. We saw significant gains, especially in our elementary school. Junior high, we have a lot of work to do in English language arts, but just for everybody's knowledge, our third graders in English language arts, of the 20 corporations, they were second, ranked second.
The increase?
No, total score, overall percent
Wow.
pass rate. So second of the 20. Our fourth graders were second of 20. Last year they were fifth. Our fifth graders were fifth of 20. Last year they were 12th of 20. Our sixth graders were fourth of 20. Last year they were seventh. Our junior high, we've got some work to do. We saw some decreases there. I know they're going to work very, very hard on that. Our seventh grade group was 15th of 20. Last year, that same group was 9th. And so we saw a slide there that we're going to work very, very hard to correct. And our eighth graders were 11th of 20, and last year they were 7th when they were seventh graders. And so we saw a slide in our junior high English, and a lot of work's going to go into that and to correcting that for those kids. Math, same thing. Our third graders, of the 20 corporations, they were first in their pass rate in math. Our fourth graders were second, and last year they were second as well. This one I'm really, really proud of. Our fifth graders, they were 6th of 20, and they had a teacher change in mid-year, and I think it really, really benefited our students. They were 6th of 20. Last year's fourth graders, they were 16th of 20. Our sixth graders were 3rd of 20. Last year, that same group as fifth graders were tied for 9th of 20. Our seventh grade, they were 2nd of 20. Last year's sixth graders, they were 8th. And our eighth graders, and this one we saw a decline, but you really can't. They were 2nd of 20, and last year they were first. But it was razor's edge first, and now it's kind of razor's edge that they were second, just a flip-flop here or there.
Okay.
But overall, in English language arts, we were 3rd of 20. Last year we were 9th. Overall for the corporation in math, we were 2nd of 20. And so we saw really significant gains. And then if you looked at the combined score, and those are kids that passed both sections. Our third graders, we were 2nd of 20 corporations for those that passed both. Our fourth graders were 2nd of 20 corporations. And last year that same group as third graders were 5th. This one, this is a good one. The next one. This one, our fifth graders. They were 2nd of 20. This group last year as fourth graders were 17th.
Ooh.
And so a lot of gain in that fifth grade room this year. Our sixth graders, their combined score, they were 2nd of 20. Last year they were 10th. Mm-hmm. Our seventh graders were 7th of 20, and last year they were 8th. And our eighth graders, and again, just a small little thing here, they were 2nd of 20. Last year they were first. Corporation-wide, of all of those, we were second corporation-wide as far as our test scores and our percent pass rate. And last year we were 7th. And we'll look at those, the actual numbers next month. But I just wanted to go ahead and shed a light on all of the hard work that our students and our teachers and our instructional assistants and our tutors and our administrators are doing. We targeted some things, and we put a lot of work in on them, and it was very, very hard. And some people got upset because it wasn't the norm, but we were seeing a downward slope, and I was hoping for some type of uptick, but it was a significant movement in the right direction, corporation-wide across the board, in particular in our elementary. So very, very proud of all of those involved, the kids, the students, the teachers, the instructional assistants, tutors, lunch ladies, literally it takes everybody for those things. This morning, I want to give a good shout out to Miss Shiger back there and Miss Hood. I started my morning off with the ISTA. They had new teacher kind of training for all of Harrison County and Crawford County. We had several teachers there that are going to be new to us. They gave a lot of good tips, a lot of good things. Some have some years of teaching, some have 0 years of teaching. So it would be very beneficial for everybody. But I wanted to shout out to them because I know that's a lot of hard work to put that on, and especially Corden High School where it was with us the last couple of years. Corden this year, it's going through construction, and so where they planned on going in, and then the parking lot's getting redone, so they just move everything around. But they did a really, really good job on that. We are, knock on wood, fully staffed for the 25-26 school year. Not many corporations can say that. Now, that could all change tomorrow. Who knows? So I'll mention it now and then knocking on wood. New bleachers are installed in the high school. They look very, very nice. They will be beneficial for us. We have started the initial process of budgeting for 2026. We've kept it the last couple of years just under 11 million. We know that we're not going to be able to do that, especially on the operations side, because we have some large things that we have to do, and that's what the big issue with getting some solar on, getting some roofing done, and running that out of debt service was, because we know we've got parking lots and roads we have to resurface, and we know we still have a couple buses that we have to buy because, and we'll talk about one here in a minute, but we have to prepare for the next contract cycle, potentially having one, maybe two, maybe none, or zero contract drivers. The price of buses have priced contract drivers out for the most part. So we've got to pick all of that up and be prepared. And so we've been doing it bus after bus over the last couple of years, but we kind of really have to ramp up next year and grab a couple. And so we know that there's going to be some sizable things coming out of operations. And so we know that that's going to move up some. Last thing I want to talk about, we sent a parent survey out. As soon as school was out, I got a lot of good information from a parent group that I meet with on ways to get more participation. Last year, we got 37 total surveys, responses. This year, we got a lot more. We got 109 and represented, and you could go through and check on how many kids, because they marked how many kids they had, and roughly about 27% of our kids. Now, some of them are duplicates. Some of them, the mother and the father filled it out, so it's the same set of kids. But so roughly about 25% of our kids were represented, and 109 survey responses as opposed to 37. One of the questions that it asked is, I'm happy with the current path of Lanesville Community School Corporation seems to be on. Of that, 15.6% said they weren't. I was happy with that number. You always have people that are upset with you. 38.5 said they were unsure. And a lot of those, I've got a son that's at Silver Creek, and I know what he's doing, and I care what he's doing. I don't really pay attention to the corporation. So you get a lot of that. But then the largest number was 45.9% that said, yes, I am happy with the way that the school corporation is going. So those were good numbers. And another thing that we asked of them was, what is it that we do really, really well? The largest thing that they said that we do really, really well was safety at Lanesville Community School Corporation. And 67% people said, yes, that's what we do the best at. They feel safe with their kid here. The next highest was creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. And that was 59.6%. And then the third was quality of communication from teachers home. And right behind that was administrators and then counselors, and then athletic opportunities was right there as well. And so those are some things that were highlighted for us that we do exceptionally well. And we ask them, what are some things that we really need to improve upon? By far, the leading tally marker there was maximize space that we have. And we know that we are out of space. 100%, we know that. And that's 37.6% of respondents. The condition of the facility was 28.4. That was second. We put a lot of time and effort into our facility, but we know we've got a lot to do. I have had some architects going through looking at some remodeling over the last week, just to help work us up some schematics on some things we need to do no matter what happens around here. And then, ironically, some of the highest ones were the quality of communication from teachers and administrators and counselors. Some of the lowest numbers were the quality of communication. It was 26.6% said that they got poor communication from their teacher. 24.8% said that they had poor communication from administrators, and 13.8% said they had poor communication from counselors. And so we know that we've got a lot of people say they do well, and a lot of people say we do. And so one thing that we do with this data is we had administrators retreat, and it was the department heads and building administrators and myself got together, and we go through these things and some other things. And one of the things that we know we have to do is work on some communication and some systems for communication to make sure that it doesn't matter what teacher you have, you're still getting communicated with properly. We know most of ours do that. Some still fall short. Sometimes I fall short, but putting some systems in place. And so this data is always used by us, and we look at it and we make some changes and we do some things based on some feedback that we get. And so I just want to thank everybody that responded and the parent group that I meet with for their feedback, because it really garnered a lot more attention and better responses this year.
Thank you.
That is my report.
Okay, next up is the PTSO report.
So right now we are working on our back to school bash, getting ready for that. We're going to be having popsicles set up outside like last year. One thing that we are going to do different is we're going to have what we call the Eddie's Closet. So it's a bunch of gently used Lanesville gear that we'll have for sale at a really discounted price. And we might even have that pop up at different events throughout the school year. So we'll be taking donations at any time to help provide that for other kids and adults. We'll have adult sizes as well. And we've gotten together and created our schedule of events for the school year. We've made a few changes to certain events, but at the back to school bash, we're going to have magnets with not only our meeting dates, but also different events, which those dates could be tentative depending on how the schedule goes throughout the year. And then lastly, we got the field trip shirts designed and set up. They went through Parent Square today, so anybody can purchase them. We'll also have the QR code at the back to school bash, so anybody can scan that and get a field trip shirt if they like. So that's what we have right now.
Thanks. Next up is public comments related to agenda items only. Public participation policy will be in place. The only person that signed up was Donnie, but he's thinking about 22, right? Okay. The next item is item number 9, approval for St. Mary's Catholic Church to use 2 of our mid-buses on Sunday, August 10th for their annual picnic. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make a motion. We go ahead and approve those buses for the St. Mary's Catholic
We've
Church.
done it for years,
Yeah.
haven't we? Yeah,
Yep,
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion?
Did you second it?
Yeah.
Okay.
If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The next item is approval to purchase a new full-size school bus. Dr. Apple, you want to speak on that?
Yeah, what we're needing to purchase is exactly the same bus that we purchased last year. It is a international school bus. It's got the racks underneath. We will go through Wilson Center and through Midwest on bidding. The IC is actually, the base price is the cheapest. Most of the things, it comes out a few $1,000s cheaper. Then because of different parts and whatever, they try to factor in a tariff cost. And they're figuring about $6,500 on that one. That puts it just a little bit above, about $1,000 above the Thomas. But we really like the one we had. It's got what we need. The additionals, some of them can do heated seats and heated mirrors. Some of them can't, those kinds of things, which if you ask Mr. Bridges, that's important whenever you're climbing in a bus at 9 o'clock in February to be able to do those
7
things.
o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it's not.
The listed price on that is $168,767. That might be higher, it might be a touch lower. They factored in tariff costs, but they don't really know. They tell us, but just so everybody is aware, that's about $15,000 more than what we paid last year. Similar bus we bought in 2022 was $112,000, and so school buses, the prices just keep escalating and escalating, and that's why we know that we have to be prepared. Talking with our contract drivers and other transportation directors in the area, contract drivers have been priced out of buses. We've extended how long that they can keep buses. We've gone now to 24 years instead of 20, just to try to keep some drivers, but they still can't buy buses. They've priced contract drivers out of buses. And so we know when we're preparing, and some of our drivers may still drive, but they may still drive for us. So we have to do those things. We have to prepare for that. And so the price on that international is $168,767. But it may be a little different than that whenever they factor in tariffs, and they just wanted to make sure we're aware of that. But we know, and I'm asking for approval of about $170,000 on that bus.
We ordered it. We're going to order it.
Well, you haven't approved it yet, but as soon as you
as soon as we approve it,
yeah,
we're
because we
ordering
have to get the price locked in.
You're
Yeah,
trying
for
to
the
lock
new
in the
model.
price
Yeah.
before it goes up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you got to prepare for the future, because a lot of these drivers that I've talked to, I'm not saying they're going to. I'm just saying they've been talking about not doing contracts again.
Yeah, they can't afford
And
it.
they
And then
can't
you
afford
can't
it.
afford
And
the
it's-
upkeep on it.
They'll drive for us, but they
And
don't
the
want to
fuel.
have their own. Yeah, and they'll drive for us, but they don't want to own their own buses.
Yeah.
I get it.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second to approve?
I'll make a motion. We approve purchase of a new full-size school bus.
I'll second.
Or any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, the next item was the approval of the elementary school 2025-2026 student handbook. We got that ahead of time. I've had a chance to look at it. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the elementary handbook for 2025,
I'll
26.
second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The same with the approval of the junior senior high school 2025 and 2026 student handbook. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make the motion. We approve the changes to the junior senior high school student handbook for this coming year.
I second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, on 13 through 21, we're going to do as we've done in the past, consent agenda. So that's number 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Would anybody like to pull any of that out?
Before you do that, I just want to make sure that we are clear on one hiring. Ms. Ann Williams as a RTI teacher. That is that newly created position. She will not be full-time.
Part-time.
Fridays, she won't be here, and there are a few weeks that she won't be here whenever kids are doing end of semester, end of quarter parties, those kinds of things. And so she'll be with us a vast majority of the time, but her contract will be prorated to show those
Just when she's
days.
here, yeah.
Yeah. But just want to make sure everybody was aware of
And
that.
she's the one that's helping with Bethany with titles.
Yes.
She's the one that's helping with that. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Williams is a retired teacher and done this type of work for a long time, and so she will be a great asset to us.
Okay, anybody want to pull anything out? If not, could I get a motion and second to approve?
I make a motion that we approve items 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 for approval of all of those folks listed in those areas.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, the next item is additional public comments.
What's the matter?
Donnie Husong, Lanesville. Not really a comment, maybe a question. I forgot the date. It was early June. Dr. Apple hosted an open house type of question and answer session on the solar project. And I wasn't able to make it because I was enjoying a week off with my son and daughter-in-law, whom you all know, and my wonderful grandkids at Chesapeake Bay. I understand that there were some questions asked and particular answers weren't available, and the consultants or the administration were going to get some answers and get back. Will there be a follow-up meeting to provide those answers, or have they been provided?
He's got the questions, and then he's had surgery. We're meeting again next week to go
Hope I'm
through
off.
those. Huh?
Hope I'm off.
Well, we're meeting next
Okay.
week and then getting those answers to the people that asked the questions.
So it won't
If
be.
they haven't already. Some of them, I think, maybe reached out to him directly.
Was it? What little bit I heard secondhand is that the scope of the project's been modified somewhat because the condition of the roof and maybe
We
changed.
want, instead of listening to some public comment and a few other things, instead of putting them on, the roof's got most areas about 10 to 12, maybe 15 years in it. But instead of putting them on and then they're not drilled or anything, so you just take them off, bring them down. But instead of doing that, then we're using this money to help do the roof where they go on. What the last conversation we had is the roofing estimates are much better than what we originally thought as far as price wise. So it frees up more money for more solar. But then over the next few years, then we'll replace the rest of the roof.
So it was mentioned there would be a reduction in panels. That's not going to be as drastic as you first thought.
Yeah, because the pricing on the roof
okay,
is better.
okay, that's good to know because that's what you was hoping for to generate.
To offset at least a teacher salary a year. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second, have you had a chance to look at, figure out, or be told the impact of SB1 on school finances and the potential loss of certified shares?
We've gone through that. The state's given us those readouts. The one tricky little part, we're looking at probably the last estimate that we saw, about $750,000 that we're going to lose over the next few years. What we'll also lose, but won't take place until 28, are local income taxes, unless
Certified shares.
unless you guys decide, because we can't levy those. You guys at county council or the town, everybody else but us can levy those. That's about $111,000 a year that we would lose. And so now, but it's hard to then calculate because that won't be until 28. So it's hard to calculate that now with the first 3 years, but those 3 years are never coming back.
Right.
And so who knows what that's going to look like then in 28. And so we know what that's going to be. We know what our local income tax share is, the $111,000 that we got last year. So we're looking at anywhere, depending on the way things look, anywhere from probably 500 to $750,000 over the next 3 years. And then once the local income tax comes off, then that's at least another $111 a year, unless there's some deal where somebody feels generous and gives us some of that back.
There's 6 other people. Come on. The impact to county government on SB1, not, I think, including certified shares, we're going to be looking to make up about $600,000.
Yeah.
That's not as bad as $750,000,
No.
but, and I guess we're lucky because that's a $42 million budget. But
yeah, and that's not taking into account any potential riverboat loss or any of that if that were to happen as well. I mean, that is just truly the estimates that we got off property taxes. From the
again,
state.
I can't speak for anybody else, but as far as my mind is made up, there's no intention to further reduce riverboat contributions.
That will give you.
I don't think you're going to see increases because, right now, county levy from all sources is about $23 million. Our total budget is $42 million. So we got to find $23 million somewhere where we get $22 million
And
from
we
the
know-
riverboat. So,
it's not going to go down. They're going to hold. They won't
well,
go
that's just budgeted
down. That's
numbers.
budget, yeah.
You have all these things that come up during the year where, gosh, we need $1 million to build a grandstand. Where are we going to get it? Well, we overspend about $8 or $9 million a year for good things in the community. but-
Sure. I get it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, the last item is adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll
Can I
second
get a
it.
second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.